That was great.
All right. Hey guys, time for TPH Live, the penultimate edition of TPH Live. We have Rhonda McGee with us as our teacher today, and just by way of background, for those of you who don't remember Rhonda, she's professor of law at the University of San Francisco. She works around the world on the intersection between mindfulness meditation and social change. She's written a book called The Inner Work of Racial Justice, and we're very, very lucky to have her, especially at this time in our history. So thank you, Rhonda, for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dan.
I was sent a note today saying that the topic that you'd like to hone in on today is mindfulness practices for working against racism and working together for justice. So can you hold forth on that just a little bit?
For sure. So I think, and let me just expand that in the moment a little bit, because I definitely believe that we are in this moment, in the wake of the lynching of George Floyd, that we've all seen, we've all had a chance to, in a certain sense, witness. We are all struggling to understand more as best we can what the Black Lives Matter movement has been trying to bring forth, what anti-racist work, anti-oppressive policing work has been trying to bring forth for really the language of Black Lives Matters is new, but that movement against oppressive policing and for liberation of oppressed minoritized people has been with us for generations and generations since our history in the United States, of course, and beyond. And so we're waking up, all of us, in different levels and to different degrees, to a certain deeper intensity and urgency around at least maybe understanding systemic oppression, systemic racism, and its prevalence and the way in which it shows up in policing. So I think we're all kind of in a collective classroom around that, and the elements of the teachings are going to be different for all of us depending on what we brought into the conversation and what where we are, where we find ourselves. But we're all, I think, seeing on a different level what it means to be vulnerable to oppressive policing, what it has meant particularly for marginalized, minoritized people, Black people in America, but not only Black people in America, Indigenous people in America, immigrants and marginalized immigrant communities, especially Latino, and to some extent Middle Eastern, now Asian heritage people in this moment who is intersecting with the kind of coronavirus scapegoating, pandemic scapegoating. So there are all kinds of different ways that we as a people have been living with the vulnerabilities of kind of police overreaching and brutal behaviors. And we're starting to see that this isn't about bad apples, and that it's sort of a complex problem because it is not just racism, but it is about police overreaching and oppression. And so while all of us are minority populations may be more vulnerable, all of us are vulnerable. And I think we're starting to see that, especially in the responses that very diverse, multiracial crowds are provoking these responses or are finding themselves met by policing that is sometimes like, hey, we'll march with you. Let's put down our weapons and turn together toward this problem. But a lot of times it's that militarized force, right? It's the police that might really bring that club down or spray that pepper spray and have on anybody of any background, of any race that gets in the way. And so we're learning a lot about the need both to address racism and the legacies of white supremacy as it's visited, particularly on these minoritized populations, and renders our lives more vulnerable and threatened all the time, right? But we're also, I think, learning that there's a way in which whiteness has created this invitation into a tiny little space in an oppressive system where you can feel a little more protected as long as you don't disrupt too much. The minute you step out and disrupt and stand against, actually engage in anti-racist work, the clubs can come down on you too. That part, that awakening to the limits, like the limits of this privilege that's been part of the racist bargain, if you will. Like there's been a kind of a bargain, like if you white racialized people just, kind of go, even if you yourself aren't, you haven't imbibed a lot of ideology of white supremacy and hate towards, just be quiet and hold on to your little, we won't come after you. I think we're waking up to all of this. Now, it's so that path then of like waking up to racism and doing anti-racist work, but through that, deepening our capacity to work together across our lines of real and perceived difference. I think it's just emerging out of this experience. We will never again, I don't think, we'll never be the folks who don't we will always have in our mind the images of, the white women standing together trying to protect protesters in Kentucky, Black racialized protesters against police brutality, putting their bodies together in a line, or the multitudes of multiracial Americans just streaming into the cities, many whites saying enough. And, there's always a threat of this kind of like performative anti-racism, like I'm out there because my friends told me I had to be out there, or I'm out there because I don't want people to wonder why I wasn't out there. However people get out there, and whatever critical reflections we may have on that, the visuals and the realization, there's something teaching, we're being taught something new about our capacity to work together in this moment. And so, yeah, I think our mindfulness practices obviously can help us because it's not easy. It's not linear. It's not like we're moving all together inexorably toward this beautiful place. There will be fits and starts. There will be misunderstandings. There's a lot of need for emotional intelligence around this because we're going to be feeling some things that I'm going to feel some things that you aren't, and vice versa. And the ability to give each other more space as we do this work together is really, really important.
So you brought up meditation. Maybe let's do a little bit of meditation.
Yes.
And I'm going to mute myself on this side and let you take over and guide us through some meditation, if that's okay.
Great. Yes. Thank you. So let's, wherever we are in this moment, however you are, let's take a moment to drop in together. So, feeling the ground beneath us. In this moment, as we breathe in and out, whether we're lying down, resting, their feet up in some way, or we're sitting as I am, or standing. However you are in this moment on this earth, see if as you breathe in and out, you can sense the connection between your body and this earth in this moment. Can you feel the ground beneath you? Can you feel the sense of belonging that is so inherently true about your being here right now, being held by gravity, being supported by the breath as you breathe in and out? So feeling the ground, breathing in and out. Noticing this ground that we all share, actually. This one earth that we all share. And every human ancestor that has ever lived has also shared. As we breathe in and breathe out, see if we can feel the aliveness in our bodies. And if there's any difficulty that we're going through right now, maybe placing one hand over the heart, one hand just beneath the belly button. And on the next in-breath, sensing into what is well within you. And on the out-breath, seeing if you can breathe out maybe just a little bit longer than usual for you. Breathing in. And on the out-breath, seeing if you can breathe out through the mouth, maybe letting out a little sound. Breathing in, breathing out slowly, allowing a little bit of sound to resonate through the body. Supporting the strengthening of the vagus nerve, this neurobiological system for down-regulating when we're feeling anxious. Breathing in and breathing out a little bit longer. Now just resting in this natural capacity we have for deepening the sense of well-being, of ease, of peace, right here, right now in our bodies, in our breath, in our being. And sensing, again, in any way you might be needing extra support. If you need to perhaps place one hand around the shoulder, you might experiment with a little bit of giving yourself almost a hug as you sit here. Feeling the container of this body and the goodness of your heart, your being, your spirit. And as you breathe in and out, remembering, literally remembering, touching into this part of this body and the parts of the body that might be needing extra support. So breathing in and remembering the sources of love and well-being and kindness that are in you right now. Perhaps remembering some one person who has been a supporter, a kind benefactor, or one place where you felt safe and nurtured. A conversation where you felt understood. Feeling the resonance of that in your body right here, right now. And as you breathe in and out, sense into the way in which my voice in this moment, this circle of practice and this online community of connection, this moment of connection, is a very real circle of support. So as you breathe in, sensing into how it is that coming together with intention and with a view that can hold each of us in our multiple realities, wherever we are, we're here together. Breathing in and breathing out, creating a community of practice and connection across the miles, across the kind of the gulfs of different experiences and lived realities. We can hold all of these differentiated ways of being in this moment with a kind of expansion of the heart. So as you breathe in and out, see if you can feel the will within you, whatever it is, to whatever degree you're willing to hold a broader space. one that can sense into holding from me and my experience, Dan and his, those who are outstanding in protest right now, those who have lost their lives, George Floyd, honoring the spirit of this man, this gentle giant, as his friends called him, whose passing we are working every day to make sure was not in vain. And through that work, honoring all of the many who have lost their lives in the struggle for justice. That their lives have not passed in vain, that tomorrow, no, today, we can see in each other the light of humanity, and we can move in the direction of our ability to work more effectively together. As you breathe in and out, holding the intention of grounding yourself in what is well and safe and good and what you can offer, what we can give from this place of tapping into our resources that might in some small way or maybe larger help create the world that we believe wants to be born in this moment, because something new is struggling to be born in this moment. And it, in a certain sense, is right here, being born. Starting with us, starting with you, right here, right now. So when and as you're ready, taking maybe a few very deep breaths. And if there's some way that something has arisen in this practice that you might put your own words to, you want to offer or stay in touch with as a thread, guiding you into the next moments. The invitation is to kind of bring some intentionality to how it is that we work with these multiple different realities that we're facing. They're all here. My reality is different from yours, Dan, but it's also shared. And that's true for all of us. Can we open up our heart space and our practice space for living with these multiple realities more effectively with love and kindness?
Rhonda, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. We only have a couple minutes left, but is there anything else that you want to say in terms of using our meditation practice to not only get through these times, but to transform ourselves into, sorry, my cat is jumping up on me, trying to scratch me. That distract me in the middle of the question. Get him.
He's trying to get a little attention. Hello.
He's trying to get a little attention.
Yeah.
Is there anything else just we only have a few minutes left here, or like a minute left a bit. Yeah. Anything else you just want to say as you send us on our way in terms of using our practice to not only ride these waves, but to be able to be useful in this time?
Yeah. Yes. Like, people who are here in this conversation, there's no accidents. We're actually being called to step up to a different level of engagement with what we know is not right around us in our communities. There's no one way to engage in the struggle for justice. So you can do it as an accountant, right? You can do it as a teacher. You can do it as a protester. You can do it, as a guardian of some sort, a healthcare worker. Wherever you are, know that we feel you. We feel your efforts, and there's no wasted effort in the direction of alleviating the suffering that is around us, and deepening our ability to see its systemic variations. Because I think we're all good human beings, or I think, the good human beings come to calls like this. We are trying our best as individuals. We now are being called radically to a curriculum that's about systemic reform. And so that means the policies and practices in our own institutional spaces, our own communities, the nation, the world. And we can't do all of it, and no one of us can, but together we can do much. We're seeing that. So be encouraged, my friends, wherever you are. You're not alone. Every little bit that you do to make a difference, starting right here, but expanding outwards, matters. And we're here with you, and we're going to be together through this.
Thank you for your work. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow for the final episode of TPH Live with Sebene Selassie. In the meantime, everybody, please stay healthy and safe.
Thank you so much. Be well.